AruvaChan here. So today I wanted to talk to you about a little bit about sort of confusion that you guys have been having in the comments. And this is on one of my most recent videos, the toxic friend video. Which, oh my goodness, guys, there's so many of you who've had very similar situations, and I'm so happy that you've all shared it with me, and I really appreciate hearing that this is not only me that this has happened to, and I'm so glad that you all could connect in the comments with your trouble experiences. But I did wanna bring up something about a lot of what you commented, which was a lot of the things you guys were commenting were just about bad friends, not really about toxic friends. So I'm going to talk about sort of the difference between a toxic and a bad friend, and some experiences I've had with just bad friends in general. So the difference between a toxic person and just like a bad person in general. A toxic person is somebody who they only care about themselves. And a lot of the times, if you're in a toxic relationship with somebody, they don't start off toxic. They end up turning toxic because of whatever reason, depending on how you treated them or how other people have treated them just in general. My relationship was definitely toxic, and I ended it because there were several factors that I couldn't deal with. Like, a toxic relationship is emotionally draining, and a lot of the times you end up just not wanting to be in the relationship anymore, and you really are just there because you've always been with them or whatever. Like, I didn't want to leave my toxic relationship because the person was my best friend. She's also my cousin, so you can't really kick family out of your life forever. And I'm sure that one day she'll see this video, so hey, then. But yeah, there's a lot of differences between a bad relationship and a toxic relationship. And the biggest indicator of a toxic relationship is you not wanting to argue with them out of fear of retaliation. Like, I never wanted to argue with her because everything I said was wrong, and unless she was right, she would be mad. And eventually, after a while, like, I couldn't take the selfishness, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. There's tons of different factors that made it a toxic relationship, but it wasn't a bad relationship. Like, she wasn't a bad friend. She was a really good friend for a really long time. We weren't good for each other after a while. So that is a toxic relationship, and a bad friendship is different. I've had quite a few bad friendships, and a lot of them, if not all of them, have been just because I've been friends with bad people. Like, I had a friend in elementary school who, I guess, I didn't really pick and choose who my friends were. I kind of just fell into a group of friends. Well, my friends would constantly pick on me, and they would call me names, and a lot of the times I would get made fun of, whatever. So after a while, I realized that they weren't great people, so I just stopped being friends with them. And like, that happens a lot when you have a friendship, is you drift away from other people, or they find a new friend and they kind of ignore you. That doesn't mean they're bad people, and it doesn't mean they're a bad person to you. It doesn't mean that they're toxic either. It just means that they have different interests. And you'll find this throughout your entire life. There's going to be good people and bad people, and people who are really good to you and people who really aren't that good to you. And you'll see that people will come and go. See, I have moved around so many times. I've had to leave people I care about, and it's never easy. But the thing about that is I can't ever go back and be like, hey, I'm in the state again, and like, let's talk about anime. Because at that point, like, I'm sure I could do that. It would be too difficult to rekindle the friendship. Because after a while, you kind of change and you become a different person. Now, when I was getting teased and bullied by my one group, I literally changed groups. And I'm sure a lot of the people who were in my group kind of wondered, like, oh, where did Sarah go? Where'd she go? But I think a lot of them didn't really care because they were busy doing other things. Those people, a lot of them were just bad people. They weren't toxic. They weren't out to get me, or they weren't trying to control me. They were just not great people. And that's okay. I wasn't right for them. So you find different people, you find better friends, and you try to make new connections. I knew this guy recently, and I had a huge crush on him. And I didn't have a crush on him at first, because he's a lot younger than me. He's about 4 years younger than me, which is pretty young compared to how old I am now. But I just kind of hung around him with my other friends, and we would do, basic stuff. Like, we went out and we climbed this place called Pumpkin Hill, and we went to a dam that was nearby, and we did a whole bunch of, like, outdoor stuff, which I don't get to do a lot because my friends don't think I'm really capable of it, which I'll go slow, but I can do it. Like, I know I'm big, but if you let me do it, I'll do it. So I kind of got to know him through going out and doing these kind of things, and I don't know, liking somebody kind of sneaks up on you, and you don't really notice until it's too late, and by that point you already like them. Well, I figured about 2 weeks in that I kind of liked him, and I didn't really want to admit that to myself because me being like 4 years older than him was kind of weird. Like, I'm 23 and he was 18, and it would be kind of like a freshman dating a senior, which a lot of people do, but I don't know, I don't feel comfortable with that. Well, I hung out with him a few times, and I think only ever once on my own. But I did like him. I enjoyed hanging out with him. I thought he was funny, and we, whenever I could, I would try and hang out with him. But the problem was, whenever we made plans, he would always say, yeah, let's go do something. And then I would say, let's do this, or let's do that. Well, he would just flake on me. Now, flaking means he would say yes and then never respond. And I consider that bad friend material. Now, it didn't bug me the first time he did it, because I figured he's probably doing something, he can't really join me, and it's no big deal, it's whatever. I'll just do my own thing while he's doing his thing. And after a few hours, he texted me, he said, hey, I had to do this thing for my dad, and I was like, oh no, that's fine, totally fine, like, no, don't worry about it. And he was like, cool, I'll have to hit you up another time, blah, 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 it's whatever. So I had him text me another time, and we made plans for our whole group to go out and hang out. And the day came that we were going to hang out, and he asked me what the plan was, and I said, oh, I don't know, let me see if the other guys are ready. So I texted my other friends, and I had a group of 4 at that point. The other 2 both said they couldn't go. And it's not really, the thing I wanted to do wasn't really like a 4-person thing, it was just like a group thing. And you could do it with just 2 people. And I thought, well, that's okay, I'll just go with him. So I texted him, I said, they're not coming, they've got other things to do, so do you just want to go up, like, with us? And he texted me back and he said, no, how about we schedule for, like, another day, well, when we can all go. And I thought, oh, well, that's okay, I guess. So I said, sure, and we rescheduled for another day, which we never did go, which I'm kind of sad, so I just went with a different friend. But we only ever hung out in a group, which didn't really bother me at first until I actually started wanting to hang out with him more because I liked him. And then it really bothered me, and I felt like he didn't like me at all. And which was weird because he told me he really liked me. He told me that I was one of his best friends, and all the while he wasn't trying to do anything with me. He wasn't trying to hang out with me. He didn't even want to hang out with me when we were with our other friends, which really hurts. And that's another thing. Being told that you're somebody's best friend and then not showing you any affection at all really kills me. That's a big thing. Because if you say you have multiple best friends and you kind of swap best friends at certain times, it just seems like sketchy behavior, and I don't like that at all. And it doesn't matter, I don't care if you do it, just don't do it to me. Like, I have too bad of self-esteem for you to be doing that to me. But at the time I believed him because I liked him. I wanted to believe everything he said was true. And so I rescheduled everything, and I remember the last time I talked to him, I was talking to him because he felt bad, which that happened a lot because he had a lot of problems of his own. Not judging. It's fine, whatever. But I'm the type of person who's motherly, I guess. Like, I'm the mom friend. So I'm always like, hey, I'll come over there and I'll help you. Like, I'll comfort you. I'll bring over a tortilla, whatever. Like, I'll bring over a Rice Krispie treat or whatever makes you feel better. Like, I'm just that kind of person. And he says something like, yeah, that sounds good. And I say, okay, just text me whenever you want me to come over and I'll be over. And an hour goes by. So I text him, I say, hey, like, do you still want me to come over? No response. Like, I have him on Snapchat. I checked his story like half an hour later, and he had gone to one of his other friends' house, and he like didn't say anything to me. And I know it's not really my business, but like, I was waiting for a reply. Like, I was waiting for him to say, hey, I'm good tonight, like, I don't really need anybody here, I just went over to my friend's house, like, I would have liked that text, but I did not get that text. And I kind of backed off because I felt like I was being, I don't know, maybe too clingy, too needy, or too emotionally invested in his stuff. So I took a step back and I kind of waited. I waited to see if he would say anything at all. And that was at the end of summer, I believe. And I figured, okay, I mean, that's cool. Like, he'll snap me or he'll text me if he really wants to talk to me, I guess. Because at that point, I felt like I was burnt out. Like, it was too emotionally trying for me. Like, I was like, every couple minutes, I would be thinking about him, and I'd get really excited, and I would snap him, or I would text him and say, hey, what's up? And I would never get a reply, or I would get a reply the next day. Like, and I don't know if he knew that I liked him, because I did eventually tell him, and he wasn't mad or anything about it. He was very, like, calm and chill. But, like, he even said, like, wow, that's really brave of you. Like, I can't believe you told me. But, like, it wasn't the same. Like, I don't even remember what I was saying. But I took a huge step back, and I waited to see if he would message me back. And he did not. Which, honestly, I am the kind of person who I'll snap you or text you back as soon as you send me a message, because I'm always on my phone. So, like, I don't do that kind of, like, ignore them for half an hour or a day or 2 days because they made me mad or whatever. Like, I'll message them right away, be like, hey, what's up? But I stopped talking to him completely, and I waited to see if he would message me at all, because I was kind of concerned, like, maybe he doesn't like me, like, at all. Like, I know he doesn't like me like that, but maybe he just doesn't like me as a friend. So I waited to see if he would message me at all, like, just send me a hey, like, Snapchat me. But we had a streak going too. He let our streak die, and I didn't get any more snaps from him after that, which was concerning for me, because if I was the only person keeping our friendship alive, why was I trying? Like, I know a lot of people have that anxiety of, well, do I snap them now? Like, it's been like 2 weeks. But I really honestly don't think that he cared at all. Like, we'd been friends for maybe a few months, and, like, within those few months, I'd spent every day, or almost every day, with him. Which, like, I get if he didn't like me, and he just wanted to kind of cut things off. But about a month ago, maybe not even a month ago, I was at a pep rally kind of thing, or, well, I was at a cheer competition with my one friend, who also used to be his friend. And I was, like, sitting across the bleachers from him, and I, like, couldn't really see him that well, which was good for me, because I didn't really want to see him anymore, because it just makes me mad. But I felt so awkward, because I could see him, and I knew he could probably see me, because it's kind of hard to miss me, because I got bright pink hair, and I'm chubby. So I waited for a few hours. Like, I had been there since 8 in the morning, and it was probably, like, 12 o'clock. So I waited from, like, whatever, 10, 11:30 till 1 o'clock, and I waited to see if he would do anything, or see if my other friend who was there with him would say anything or do anything, like wave. They didn't. I don't know if she saw me, but I saw him looking over, and I felt so awkward. Like, I just left things as they were, and I didn't say anything to him afterwards, And, like, I was super upset, because I'm a really emotional person, so I was really upset for a few days. So, doing this stupid thing, I lifted my arm up and I kind of waved. Like, I saw that a few things with him had changed, and I wanted to be the nice person, and I waved. And he was looking directly at me, too. And he slowly turned his head and looked away. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's super disrespectful, and I really, like, even if you feel awkward, like, just do, like, a one hand wave, like, hello? Just one motion. But no, I wasn't even given that. And there's no way he could have been looking at anybody else, really, because I was literally the only person in my section, because I was sitting with our school's cheerleaders, and the school's cheerleaders were going to perform. So there was literally nobody around me. But like, the cheerleaders were practicing, I guess. They were out of the room, but they weren't performing, so it was just me. But I literally, I felt so bad. And, like, to think that all of those months that I hung out with him and all that time I spent together with him literally meant nothing. And maybe it did mean something, but I can't imagine what goes through your head when you do that kind of stuff. Like, you see me wave, just wave back. It's not that hard. Do the respectful thing. Wave back. I'm very salty about this, if you couldn't tell. But I realized something at that point, and this is kind of like a little off, but I realized that I'm way too nice to people who don't deserve to be, you know, who don't deserve my niceness. Like, you can have my politeness, and I'll be polite to you if I don't like you. Like, I saw my cousin the other day, and I was polite, and I didn't say anything, but I wasn't nice to her. I didn't look at her, didn't talk to her, and, like, I did the polite thing of just avoiding her, and, like, not looking at her, not talking to her, but it's not, maybe it's not a him thing, maybe it's a me thing, but it's still, it really grinds my gears, I guess. Like, it gets my brain going, gets me fired up. And not in a good way either, because then I'm just an emotional wreck for the rest of the day. I have to, like, recover from a internal panic attack, which is never fun. But with me realizing that I'm too nice of a person, it kind of goes back to all of the mean and bad people I've known in my life. It's because I am too nice of a person, and I do give people too many chances. And I know I shouldn't do that, but I just continue to do that. And I've never been somebody to turn anybody away who's needing friendship. Like, honestly, if my cousin ever came back and said, I need somebody right now, like, I know you're the only person I can call, I'd probably go and see what's happening, what's wrong, because it's just the kind of person I am. I'd never turn somebody away if they were in need, which it's not good for me, I know, but I just can't help myself. I can't help myself. I'm just too loving. Sarcasm. But a lot of people fall under that, is they're too nice and they let too many people into their heart, and they tend to get their heart broken. Whereas, going back to the toxic friend person, your toxic friend is somebody you don't want in your heart anymore. You've made this decision because, well, they've basically made it for you. You can't stand them anymore, basically. And having bad friends is not always a bad thing. You can have bad friends for a little while and have fun. Like, my bad friend, I knew him for a few months, and those few months were actually a really good time. My friend was mean and constantly called people bad names and was constantly, like, just doing bad things. But I still enjoyed hanging out with him, and for the longest time I genuinely enjoyed his company until he was bad to me, and then I was gone, really. Actually, he was probably bad to me the whole time, I just didn't realize it, until I realized that he was not good. But I think a lot of you can take away from this, because I know a lot of you you've had that bad friend experience, and there will be a point in your life where you will be the bad friend. Like, I know for sure that I've been a bad friend, just because I didn't like somebody, and I still have a friend in my life who I don't like. I genuinely just don't like her, but I keep her around because she doesn't have any friends, and I try to be so nice to her because I feel bad for her, which doesn't do me any good, and it doesn't do her any good, but I don't know. I don't treat her very bad, but I treat her bad enough that, like, she doesn't want to hang out with me every once in a while. That's not true either. She always wants to hang out with me. I'm sorry. I can't hang out with you. I can't. There's just some people in your life that you're not gonna like either. And honestly, you'll be the bad friend then. And a lot of the times it's not your fault. But it just happens. And you gotta try your best to not be that kind of person and just end it. Like, I'm very tempted to just tell my friend, like, hey, I'm just not into you anymore. And I think she kind of gets it. Like, she's kind of using me also because she doesn't have any friends. But it's whatever. Well, I hope you liked that. If you did, just leave a like on this video and leave a little thumbs up. It really helps me. And definitely tell me in the comments if you have a story just like this. Alright, bye!